Welcome back to the WDS Originals YouTube channel. My name's Jason and behind me is quite a rare BMW. Now this car's been off the road for 7 years and in today's video we're going to be answering that all important question, can this car be saved? Still fucked. I think this engine's for the bin. Battered. Now some of you might be asking, is it even worth saving a car that's been off the road for 7 years? And in this instance, the answer is definitely yes. The reason for that is because this is a special edition car. So what we're looking at here might just look like a normal E46, but it's actually something quite special. It's something called the Clubsport. Now the Clubsport is quite identifiable with things like the spoiler, the special edition wheels, and also the spats on the front bumper. But to the untrained eye, this will just look like a normal BMW that's just dirty and currently not running. But in today's video, we're going to change all of that. Now I don't want to bore you guys with the finer details, but this engine is called the M54 and it's a 3 litre inline 6 normally aspirated engine. And it is actually a pretty simple engine to work on. Now previously this car was running, so when I collected this car last week, I was actually able to drive this on my trailer, albeit with a heavy misfire, but fast forward to today, and it now doesn't even run. Now the previous owner's done some work to this himself, where he'd changed the coil packs and also the spark plugs. And I know that they've definitely been done, and I don't need to take his word for it, because all the old parts are actually in the boot. So we need to start investigating exactly what's up with this, and why it's not running, and when it does run, why it's got a heavy misfire. Now first things first, we're going to use Estoril and do a full diagnostic sweep on this car. So in order to do that, we need the key and Estoril, and as you can see, it's currently connected to the car. So we're going to put the key to ignition 2, go on to diagnostics, and then simply scan the vehicle. This process can take a moment or two, so I'm going to skip to when it's done scanning.
A few moments later.
So now that we've done scanning, we can read all the individual codes related to a mass airflow sensor. And that is probably because it's sat next to me here in the car and not connected. There's no actual fault codes for any other misfire. The other things that are on here are all to do with, a mobiliser. That could well be our problem. As to why this isn't starting. Voltage supply to EWS3. Well, we're at 11.65 volts, so I can go and put the battery on charge if I need to, and hopefully clear those codes and then maybe start this car up. So we're just going to press quick erase. Now I can only assume that it was the previous owner's choice to fit a cone filter. I personally would much prefer to see an original airbox on a car like this, but for temporary measures, this will do. That's the MAF now plugged back in. All the codes cleared, battery's pretty much fully charged. So let's go and turn the key. So the battery charger's disconnected and it's time to see what happens. Success. I think a low voltage to that EWS immobiliser will stop it from starting. It's definitely misfiring. You can probably hear it's definitely misfiring. Let's have a little look on diagnostics at some live data, shall we? Air mass sensor 0. Now normally if you've got an air mass sensor, as in the MAF sensor failing, you'd normally have an engine management light, but this isn't even reading a value. So the way in which we can test that is take you back round here, unplug it and see if anything changes. No difference at all. Okay, So it's stalled by plugging it back in. So it is working. It might just not be reading the correct value. Interesting. That might suggest we have an air leak somewhere after the MAF. So maybe a smoke test. So what we've identified then is that this MAF sensor is either sending the incorrect signal because it's faulty, or there's an air leak behind the MAF sensor, often referred to as a vacuum leak. So this signal that's being sent to the ECU is incorrect, so it's potentially overfueling because it's getting too much or too little air, or vice versa. Now the way in which we're going to test that is by getting a smoke tester and filling this chamber with air and smoke, and if it is leaking, we will see where the smoke is coming from. So for those of you that have never seen a smoke tester or don't understand how it works, here it is. I'm going to keep this very brief, but basically you connect this to the power supply so that this is then powered up. You put some form of oil inside it and it effectively warms it up and sends it out of this tube just here. And now with this generating smoke, we can block off the entire inlet manifold using this little device here by simply pumping it up. So as you can see, that's now in there nice and tight. And we have got an access hole that goes through this. So if we then plumb this up, quite difficult to do one-handed, but if we get that in there. So we've now got the smoke going in here, down and through, and you can see that we have definitely got a manifold leak or an air leak somewhere. In fact, it actually looks quite simple. That looks like a split rubber hose. That's just an intake boot by the look of that. Hopefully you guys can see that. But that is one smoke test complete. And after a quick little evening drive out to go and see a friend of mine who has plenty of these parts in stock, we've secured the goodies. So let's see if we can get this done all before midnight. Currently doing another smoke test, having changed the old pipe, and currently we have not got any vacuum leaks. And if we go and look at the old pipe, the old intake boot had two splits in it, one of which was quite substantial. So, it's looking good. We've got a little bit coming from the join, but when I turn this off and disconnect, you'll see how much was in there. We can allow a little bit because that's how much was inside. So now with that intake boot changed and it all back together, minus a few trims, it's time to chuck you on a tripod and see if it's made a difference. Ready? Nope. Still fucked. So what I'm now gonna do is just go through a process of elimination and try and work out which cylinder has the misfire. Right, so we've just undone the coil pack for cylinder 1 and we're gonna see if it's worse or the same. Definitely worse. And I'll do the same for number 2. definitely worse. Now do the same for number 3.
One eternity later.
I'm going to do number 6 again. I would say 6 doesn't actually make much of a difference. So the potential misfire is on number 6, by the way that performed. So for curiosity, if we pull the coil pack, oh, she's got a bit of rust on her, from number 6 and number 1, and swap them round, so put coil pack number 1 in number 6, in theory, now if the issue has moved from cylinder 6 to 1, we know it's potentially this coil pack. I think it unlikely, given the fact they're all brand new. Right, so all of them are connected. Misfires. Undo number 1. Misfire is definitely worse, so it's most likely not going to be the coil pack. Let's have a little look at the plug, shall we? Well, that wasn't very tight, which is interesting. Goodness gracious me. I mean, it's a little bit warm still. They're brand new iridium plugs, but somehow there's been some water down there. And that probably doesn't help. There is no gap in the plug. Right, let's leave that there. Let's just pull some more. That's been gapped and that's good. Number 3. I think this engine's for the bin. That's also been gapped and is good. Number 4. Number 5. Also incredibly loose. That also looks like it's been gapped. Right, so I'm going to bring you number 6 and say number 1 for contrast. This is number 1. That is somewhat what we'd expect. But that has no gap and looks battered, as if it's been touching the piston or something has been bouncing around in there and caused some damage. Number 6, number 1. All the others look like number 1, but number 6 looks like that. I think we have a toasted engine. Now, I don't really know what to do, given the fact that it's midnight and I needed to finish this video. So I think I'm going to have to finish this video here. I did want to save this E46, but it's not looking good, Brev. Well, I guess I'll catch you on episode 2 and we'll find out a little bit further exactly what's going on with this Clubsport. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and of course drop a comment with your thoughts down below. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.